I'm Jordan Hatfield. This is Faster Film Critic. Today on the show, we talk Weapons with Kolter and Eric Wood. Weapons is a 2025 horror film directed by Zach Cregger, starring Julia Garner, Josh Brolin, and Amy Madigan. This movie's got horror, it's got comedy, it's got grotesque violence, a little TNA, and we'd have ourselves a perfect film. Get in, we're going cinephiling. What's up, gentlemen?
Hey, what's going on? Where was the TNA?
Dude, every horror movie's got TNA.
Except for this one.
Except for this one.
Yeah.
Except for this one. Eric, how you doing, man?
Right.
Good, man. How you been?
Good. Thanks for joining us.
Good.
I'm really excited to talk Weapons.
Yeah, man. It was a fun little ride.
The marketing going into this film was fantastic, was it not?
Yeah. Yeah, not too much. Just right. Didn't, spoil the whole movie.
Now, I did avoid the trailers, but I did see the original teaser, and I thought it was so good. It absolutely grabbed my attention. And I love that they used that in just the first minute of the film, because I'm sitting there in the movie, and after 60 seconds, I have no idea what's coming. I think that's the best way to see a movie, and it worked really well here.
Yeah.
See, I don't think I watched the marketing as well as you guys, because I generally stay away, so I'm not paying that much attention to the stuff. I think I caught the first teaser. Like, when you say marketing, what do you specifically mean?
Well, I avoided all the trailers, so I saw that same teaser clip you saw where the kids are running like airplanes down the street in the middle of the night.
Yeah, which was intriguing. That's like, what the hell is going on? Okay.
Exactly. Yeah, other than the teaser, I just saw little advertisements showing kids are missing and little snippets of the Ring camera footage where the kids are running down the street at night.
Yeah, man. But that's the way to go in, Eric. Like, blind.
For sure.
Not paying attention to that stuff, it makes for a much better experience.
Particularly in this kind of film.
Yeah,
I feel like in everything it's hard. This one's. I'm interested to hear you guys' take on this. I'm anticipating Faster Film Critic to enjoy this one. Like, I think this is why Faster Film Critic exists. To me, yeah. But I've read up a little bit on it. Since watching it and then like processing my own thoughts. I don't know if I align with everybody. I feel like I'm more of the outlier, and I'm not used to being the outlier, I feel like. So this is going to be, I don't know.
In that case, dude, I'm glad you're here.
Yeah.
We need an outlier.
Yeah.
Before we dive into Weapons, I got to ask, have you guys seen Zach Cregger's first film, Barbarian?
Yeah. Yes, I have.
Just real quick, what did you guys think of Barbarian? Did you like it? Did you not like it?
I liked it more after seeing this, and it ties into a very obvious recommendation. But I actually like Barbarian more after watching Weapons because I kind of understand what the director's style is a little bit better now. But I still liked it when I saw it originally, yeah.
Well, one thing that I did like better about Barbarian is it did have TNA. Oh, man, Barbarian. So I got to tell you guys, I saw this with my mom, who's in her late 70s.
Okay.
My whole family was there, dude. I was there with my nephew, my young nephew.
Okay.
TNA with the family.
Yeah,
what better way to celebrate film?
We go walking into Barbarian knowing nothing about it other than it's a horror movie. And
so you saw theaters then? You were in theaters.
We saw it in theaters. That's correct. And I got to tell you, we were all absolutely shocked. And if you've seen Barbarian, you know what I'm talking about. All absolutely shocked. But yet we had such a good time in that film.
Yeah, all right.
It was really strange because we all walked out. There were definitely scenes that were super uncomfortable. And yet we were all just laughing about it. I know, even with my mom. I know it was crazy. But
what was Mom's take? How many stars did Mom give it?
Oh, Mom just shook her head. I don't know that she ever...
Did you get a star? Did you get a star or two out of her?
I think she appreciated the experience with the family.
The community of it.
Yeah, but the movie herself, I don't know that she would ever watch again. But, man, it was just such a fun experience.
Yeah. So I saw Barbarian late. So I was late on this one.
Too.
I didn't make it in theaters. But there was some buzz about it. And I remember as I teach and hearing from students and people who had seen it, and they knew I liked that kind of genre, the scary and the unknown and the weird. It delivered better than I thought, weirdly. Like, it's just different, though, too. And I almost feel like that's very akin to this movie for me as well. Like, I thought it did some really fun things, just weird.
Yeah. It sets you up for an experience you think you're going to get, and then you don't. As it kind of continues to unroll, you kind of figure out what kind of movie it's going to be. But at first, it's a little bit of a rope-a-dope. You kind of assume it's going to be one kind of movie, and then it turns into a completely different kind of experience.
Which I felt better. I felt better with that with this.
Yeah, okay.
Or than
That's fair.
I don't know. I think I liked this more.
Yeah.
But it didn't work for me as well.
Okay. All right.
I didn't love Barbarian as much as most people. And so it's a film that I kind of want to revisit, but I also kind of don't.
I'm kind of.
Yeah.
It's one of those movies,
Yeah.
right? And so at some point I'll end up watching it again. But heading into Weapons, it put me in a weird place because everybody loved Barbarian, but Barbarian was so weird and strange.
Super
Yeah.
weird. It was different, though. It was like
Very original.
this director he's going for something.
Yeah. And so going into Weapons, I kind of expected a lot more of that just hard right turns in the film. And so I
Pivot,
never really got comfortable with where the film was because I never knew what was coming.
Yeah,
it was
yeah.
a great follow-up to Barbarian.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it was a little bit more of a stable follow-up, too. It struggles to maintain its mystery a little bit, I think, but in a way that's a little bit more confident, or competent, rather, than kind of the hard pivot. Because it's almost like a trick. You know, the setup in Barbarian is pretty, or seemingly pretty obvious, and then it takes this turn. You're like, what? You know, what just happened? Whereas this is almost a little predictable, but even though it kind of struggles to maintain this mystery, it somehow manages to not spoil the fun.
It's for sure fun. It's hard for me to separate that fun with the rest of the story, and I had to boil it down to like tone. I feel like the tone of it is different enough that is what doesn't work for me. But the story and the adventure and like the community of the experience, like we had the biggest group and everybody had fun.
Yeah,
like everybody was just, like, there was no one that was like, you know, it was just fun.
What a
And there were
stinker.
people there that specifically stated that they did not like horror. And they still really enjoyed this one. And I think that's because this isn't a traditional horror film. There was actually a lot of comedy in this film, but it doesn't fit in a horror comedy genre either. It's more serious than that. It's not nearly serious enough to be a straight horror film, but it's too serious to be a horror comedy. It's really original in that way.
I feel like it leaned into the horror comedy. How do you explain?
I mean, it was no
explain it not?
Zombieland.
Yeah.
It was no Shaun of the Dead.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
That feels a little more slapstick.
Yeah.
Like a little more like poking fun of your experience. I feel like he was subtly poking fun of your experience.
Yes.
Like he's telling you the story and he's bringing in characters that you would not anticipate being relevant at all and turning them upside down and doing fun things with them, which was one of the highlights of the storytelling in my opinion.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah, it's not a straight up comedy. It's far more of a straight up thriller, mystery, suspense, horror, whatever you want to call it. But the moments of comedy were kind of punctuated through characters, and I like that you didn't necessarily know. Probably one of the more impactful scenes in this movie, and we got the main character of Justine, who's kind of camped out outside this house. In the middle of the night, she's passed out drunk in her car. We see the front door of the house open in kind of a weird, ethereal, supernatural way. This lady emerges holding what looks like a knife. We find out, in a moment or two, it's a pair of scissors. Kind of stumbles her way clumsily towards Justine's car and then stops outside of her driver's window. And instead of doing the thing you think she's going to do, she just kind of walks left out of frame. And one of the guys in the theater just went, "Huh!" So it's like these weird little moments. Of course, that's followed by the sound of her rear door car opening and shutting. And, she's getting inside. But it was, the way it set up the stuff that was normally kind of tropey or predictable always wasn't. And you were never sure if it was going to be a punchline or a jump scare. And that was really refreshing, especially for a horror movie.
I thought the balance between horror and comedy was absolutely fantastic here.
Yeah.
And I'm not a big fan of the horror comedy genre. Now, there are some films that I really, really like.
Oh, yeah.
Zombieland, Shaun of the Dead.
Yeah.
There's some that I really like. But overall, horror comedy, I'm like, right? My expectations are lower.
Yeah.
In this, I wasn't expecting any comedy at all. I expected a serious horror movie.
Yeah.
And that's not what I got.
Yeah.
And I really thought that it struck that balance just beautifully.
Yeah. And it was almost something comedic about, some of the folks that get weaponized, so to speak, in the film, characters that we get to know, as they're under this trance or this spell or whatever, the more they're under it, they get, they're in this ravenous stage of kind of murder spree. Their eyes start bugging out of their head in this way that's really kind of unsettling and weird, but it's also sort of comedic. Like, there's a scene where Marcus, Justine's principal and boss, is running down the street after her, and there's this kind of quick homage of him running through different settings and people kind of gasping in horror, and we see him kind of transform from just Marcus to like this weird eye bugged out sort of. It was just a weird choice to make, and it was, again, it's kind of like, yeah, it's scary, it's unsettling, but there's something weirdly comedic about it too.
Such a good scene.
I do think that there were a lot of unsettling. Like the imagery, I love the cinematography. I felt like there were a lot of times where the light and dark are used to just really explore some scary imagery. And I think that was well done. And I love the way they used the humor. I thought it was good for storytelling and movie making. But there was a part of it that I think I anticipated it being just a dark, kids are gone, almost prisoner style.
Yeah.
We're missing these kids. Give me some answers. I'm ready for Brolin to start, smashing heads.
Yeah.
And I think that, not disappointment, but that change and that adjustment for me didn't work as
Kind of
well.
clashed.
As you were expecting.
Yeah.
That's
Let me
fair, I
ask you
think.
guys this question.
Yeah.
The movie tells a story from 7 different perspectives. First, we
Right.
have Justine. Then we have Archer, who's the dad of a missing child, played by Josh Brolin. Then we have Paul, who's a cop. We have James, who's a drug addict. We
Yeah.
have Andrew, who's the principal. And then we have Alex, the young child. Did that structure work for you guys?
I thought it worked really well. I thought that the structure was part of what was really engaging about the storytelling. The way the plot played around, Magnolia style, where you had these main storylines going and threaded them together. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, it was well, first of all, it takes a lot of competence to pull something like that off. It gives us a chance as an audience member to kind of learn about these characters, how they fit into this predicament. But it was a unique kind of threading together of an experience, and the journey of kind of multiple perspectives that comes together was, especially for a horror movie, was, I thought, pretty kind of refreshing and interesting. And it kind of culminates, of course, towards, you see all these characters, and then it ends with Justine and the dad. They kind of had this beef at the beginning of the movie. Now they're kind of on this investigative journey together, and it works. That kind of slowing and stopping can be kind of jarring and take you out. But I thought it did what it was supposed to do, and that was to kind of build the momentum up towards kind of solving what was going on here. Even though we have a fairly good idea, I actually liked it. I thought it was cool.
I consider this narrative trick to be kind of a gimmick.
It
It's something
is.
that we've seen before in other
Yeah.
films, and in some ways we've seen it better, I think. Magnolia, you mentioned Magnolia, is a
Yeah, for
fantastic
sure.
movie. And in other ways, we've seen it a lot worse. I definitely think you're right, Kolter, when you say it's difficult. I think there's a tendency to show too much over and over because you're showing one particular scene from one perspective and that same scene from another perspective, and you end up seeing the same movie more than once in one sitting.
Yeah.
And I do think that's difficult to overcome, and I think they did a great job here.
Yeah.
When it first started, I was like, oh no, it's going to be one of these. But, halfway through it, I was like, this is really working.
Yeah.
And so despite my bias against this, again, narrative gimmick, I think in this film it worked really, really well.
Yeah, and refreshing for the horror genre. I don't think you see this a whole lot in horror in general.
When do you feel like you recognized it working? Because I went in early as well with the thought, I don't know if I like this part. Like the storytelling, I feel like picks up and it pulls you in, and it is engaging, and you are laughing. You're also tense. You're seeing these images. So I was just curious, when did you feel like it started to work for you both?
For me, it was when they came to James, the drug addict.
Yeah.
Through Justine and through Archer and through Paul, I was
Yeah.
engaged, but I was really reluctant to accept what Zach Cregger was trying to do here.
Yeah.
But as soon as Justin came on, he brought with him a lot of comedy.
Yes.
And the tone shifted there a little bit in a way that I really kind of settled into it.
Yeah, okay.
There had been comedy earlier, but it was with Justin that I really kind of settled into the film, and I was like, okay, now you've hooked me. I'm now comfortable with the tone, the setting, the story. Let's go.
Yeah. It's also the first chunk of mystery we see solved. Like he gets in access to this house, which has been kind of the focal point now. We know there's some seriously weird shit going on in there. And then we're kind of pulled out of it. And then we don't really get to see the rest of that really unveil itself until we see Marcus's story. And then that's when it's kind of like, all right, cat's out of the bag. We all have a pretty good idea of what's going on now and who's responsible for this whole incident. So that's a good point. And his performance was really good. It was really captivating and very energetic, which kind of helped the pace, gave a little uptick there.
You guys want to hear something really crazy?
Yeah.
You guys are going to throw stones at me, and I don't blame you.
Oh, my God.
There is one casting choice in here that I didn't love.
Yeah.
Josh Brolin.
Interesting. Okay.
I love Josh Brolin. I think he's great. But in this movie, I don't think he was able to portray the emotional depth that the character needed.
Maybe they needed Pedro.
Pedro Pascal was the original guy. And to be honest, I'm glad it wasn't Pedro Pascal.
Everybody
Oh my
wants
God.
Pedro right now.
Do you know who I thought would have been absolutely great as this character?
Who?
Jason Bateman.
Interesting. Okay.
I think Jason Bateman would have been absolutely fantastic.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's a good switcheroo.
Of
that's
course, it's the
interesting.
pairing with Julia Garner again, so it takes us back to the Ozark days. And so
Okay.
I didn't even
maybe-
think about that. That was
Yeah,
easy. That was
think about
that was
that either.
low hanging fruit. I didn't realize that.
Maybe
Never
that-
mind.
yeah.
I take that back.
Maybe it would be a little too distracting for some people, which I get. But I think Jason Bateman would have been so believable, and he
Weapons
has
in
got
the Ozark.
yeah,
Weapons in
he's
the
got
Ozark.
the emotional depth needed for this character that I just don't think Josh Brolin was able to bring.
Yeah, I mean, he's
I like your point about Burl because I don't know why he didn't fit for me that well. Like he was fine.
He did play like a big, tough construction worker really well.
Oh, yeah,
like
sure.
I believe him there in
Yeah,
that
yeah,
role.
yeah.
But
Angry Dad. I believed him in the community meeting. Angry Dad.
yeah.
I just think Jason Bateman would have been great here.
Yeah, maybe a little bit too comedic though, which could have maybe enhanced some of the comedy. I mean, he does that.
He plays
that,
a great serious role.
It rides that line so well between serious
Too
and
funny?
comedy. So, yeah.
Okay, guys, so here's a little fact that I found extremely interesting. Do you know why the kids left at 2:17 a.m.? Do you
I
know
know.
the relevance
Stephen King.
of 2:17? Hey, that's a good one.
Shining.
Yeah, Shining
Oh.
2:17. But that's not what I'm thinking of.
Oh, okay.
There was 18 students in the classroom,
Okay.
and there was the teacher. 17 of the students went missing,
Right.
and
Leaving.
2 people from the classroom survived.
Oh, that's
2
interesting.
people survived, 17 went missing, 2:17.
Okay. Well, I mean, there was definitely some Stephen King tributes in this
For
for
sure.
sure. The Shining, both 217 and, mom sticking her head through the broken door at the end.
He wasn't even trying to hide it. Like, he was
No,
definitely paying homage to The
Yeah.
Shining in multiple scenes.
Yeah.
So, Eric, you're a teacher. I got to ask you a question. Put yourself in Justine's position here. Would you have stalked Alex like Justine did?
Creep.
Yeah, behavior wise, there are some questionable things there. I also think this is part of what stood out to me that was difficult to suspend my disbelief. The police force, what are they doing watching this? Like, this community is on fire. You're missing these people, and you're just going to sit back and let the teacher drink and do whatever she wants, going wherever and hunting down students' homes. And I don't know. It just seemed, there were a few things that seemed a little questionable.
That is one aspect of the film, and I can see, Kolter, you saying I'm being nitpicky. That's fine, I'm being nitpicky. But that is one scene that I was scratching my head about.
Yeah.
Like, I get that she's in a traumatic experience that hopefully none of us will ever have to face, right?
Sure.
And when you're dealing with that kind of trauma, maybe you do things that are really strange. Okay, I get it. But it just didn't feel normal, natural, or realistic
Yeah.
for her to stalk Alex like she did.
Yeah.
And then approach his house, peer through the window, see the creepiness, scream,
Yeah.
step back, and then come back to the window. Like, some of those things,
Yeah.
I just was scratching my head
With
a
the
little.
checks and balances, too, knowing the school system and knowing that she then went to her principal and her principal was like, no, stay away.
Yeah.
To me, I mean, I look at on my side where I'm in the school systems. I've got to imagine someone's going to be watching this lady closely
yeah.
and watching. But I think this was also part of the story where I know he's playing around with things, and I'm just going to let him cook, let him do his thing.
Sure.
Yeah,
Sure,
it-
absolutely.
it's less of an oversight and more of a. I think it's supposed to piss you off. It's meant to be like, what the are you doing, lady? Wandering around somebody's backyard, following this kid home. What are you, stupid? It's meant to like pull you in and be like, what are you doing? Because they want you to pay attention. It does. It sucked me in. I'm like, what is? I mean, is this? Is she stupid? What is she doing? So I think it's a tool. It's a tool to kind of suck
Good
you
point.
in and make you pay attention to what's going on, even though
That's a really good point,
Yeah,
Kolter.
yeah.
That's a
Definitely.
good point.
And you do, and it just irritates you enough that you're
Yeah.
heightened and you're uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I think are the
Yeah.
big points.
Speaking of heightened and uncomfortable, I've got one more question for you.
yeah.
Archer has a dream, and in this dream, he chases his son out into the front yard, and he's looking out in the direction that his son ran, and as he looks up to the sky, he sees a giant gun.
Yeah.
WTF?
I don't know.
How did you interpret that?
I honestly, that's the biggest question mark.
It didn't work for me.
Yeah, in my head, the whole
Yeah, it didn't work for
just
me.
I kept expecting the theme, obviously the title of this movie, to manifest in some other way. There was that one thing, and then that's it. And then when we learned why the movie is called Weapons, I'm like, okay, that's fine, that makes sense. That's never revisited. It's never reinforced. It's just I don't know. It's an odd thing. He is the only character that seems to be kind of. I feel like the police aren't doing enough. I'm going to take things into my own hands, which maybe pulls him in closer to what's going on or what's causing this than anybody else, at least as portrayed on screen, which is why he sees this. But it's never connected to anything. It's completely unnecessary. You take it out of the movie and nothing changes.
I've heard a lot of interpretations as to what it's supposed to mean, and none of them work for me.
Okay.
It feels like a gun floating in the sky,
Yeah.
and there's nothing else to it.
No.
And audiences are left to kind of make something up for it,
Yeah.
but nothing fits into the movie the way it should.
Yeah.
I agree. I don't understand why it was there. It was a big question mark when I watched it, and it's still a big question mark today.
Yeah.
I'll tell you this, though. Despite the gun misstep, Zach Cregger has got my attention. After 2 films, I am now paying close attention.
Yeah, for sure.
I didn't love Barbarian, but it was a great experience. Weapons was very similar in a lot of ways. I thought this was a great experience. I had a lot of fun in this film.
Yeah.
Neither film was perfect. I did like Weapons better than Barbarian, but very original, very unique. I came out of both films saying that was a great time at the movie theater.
Yeah. It was nice to see Shanice again from Uncle Buck. Amy Madison.
Gladys is terrifying.
Playing Gladys.
I'll throw that in there. Gladys is awful. I hate that character. I hate the
Yeah.
name. I hate the character, and
Sure.
it almost ruined Field of Dreams for me.
I hate her too, and that's why I love her
Yeah.
so much in this, is
Yeah,
because
yeah,
she
yeah.
was just great. The
Yeah.
one thing I had an issue with here, to point to another negative, is
Yeah.
the clown face paint on the kids.
Oh.
Unoriginal. We've seen this before.
Yes.
Not nearly as scary.
No.
Why are we putting them in clown makeup?
Yeah.
I don't quite understand that choice, but
I'm with you.
that's not big enough to hurt the film, in my opinion. I
Yeah.
just would have liked to have seen something a little different.
Jordan's getting into nitpicky.
Yeah.
Nitpicky Jordan.
As we end this episode, I do want to comment on the very ending of this film, and that is the credits. The way it had the triangle up on the screen and the credits rolled up the side
Yeah.
to kind of pay homage to the occult
Yeah.
signs throughout the movie. I thought that was really cool.
That was
a lot of
cool.
people have tried to insert some creativity in their credits, and
Yeah.
at this point, I feel like I've kind of seen it all. And
Yeah.
this one, for some reason, it ended, and I was just like, wow,
Yeah.
that's awesome.
Yeah, it
that
was
was a
cool.
really cool way to roll the credits.
Yeah. Agreed.
How about one last thing? How did the ending work for you guys? Because I do feel like Barbarian is where the ending loses me. The story
Agreed.
goes
Yeah,
up
me
to the
too.
ending, and then
Yep.
I'm like, what the hell am I watching?
Yep,
Yeah.
yep,
And
yeah, very
then
much.
here again, the ending flaws were very similar for me. How did it work for you guys?
There's always something satisfying about seeing somebody who does such evil get hunted down and just literally, in this sense, ripped apart by the people that she
Poor Gladys.
put that upon. So there's something fun about that, and it skirts that line of kind of being a little one note. More than just that part, I think that's what you're talking about. There's this lingering feeling of like the kids, the other little kids' parents, are never going to bounce back from this. Yeah, you might have, quote unquote, saved them, but they're still borderline catatonic and years of trauma. It's almost, it's kind of a little bit unsatisfying in that regard, I think. And at the ending of this movie, I know it's, how do you end a movie like this?
You know, this is one area I am not going to nitpick. I really like the ending of this film. If we're talking about the climax, I thought it was the perfect exclamation point on this movie. I thought it fit the tone very well.
Yeah, agreed.
And I do hear what you're saying, Eric, about how there's a tonal shift in this film, a lot like Barbarian. And
Yeah.
I don't think you're wrong on that. But I do think the tone shift in Barbarian was massive, where the tone shifts here were much more subtle, much
Yeah.
smaller.
Yeah.
And I felt the ending here really worked. There was horror and there was comedy, and it kind of tied it all in together.
Yeah.
I found myself laughing more than I was scared, for sure, but it was grotesque
Yeah.
in a very comical way, and
Yeah.
that worked for me.
Yeah.
Based on the different tones that we had seen in the movie up until that point, I thought it was the perfect way to end it. I thought it was really great.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, guys, let's go ahead and rate this film on a scale of 1 to 5. What do you give it?
3.
3 stars for Eric Wood.
Okay. I'm going to give it a 3.5. That was a lot of fun. There was some great tension mixed with some comedy. I would have liked something a little bit more solid at the foundation of it, I think. Maybe a little bit more explanation of why does she need these kids? We didn't really get a chance to kind of dig in deep on the lore, but I had a good time, and I think it's been a great year for scary movies, and I think we need more of this kind of thing. So 3.5 for me.
So this movie was a little tricky for me to rate. First of all, I love movies on the occult. You've got Rosemary's Baby, Hereditary, The Omen, Haxan, The House of the Devil, and my all-time favorite, The Witch by Robert Eggers. I think the occult is the perfect setting for a horror movie, and although there wasn't a lot of it, I loved those elements here.
Yeah.
Tonally, it took me a minute to wrap my head around this film. If the purpose of this film was to scare you, I don't think it did a great job. Yeah, there are some jump scares, but I didn't find this movie scary. So there, I'd give this film like a C. Now, this film did have some comedy. I did laugh through it, but it's no Zombieland. So if you're looking for a comedy, I'd also give this film like a C. But if you're looking for entertainment, I would give this film a strong A.
Yeah,
I thought it was
I like that.
absolutely fantastic from that point, incredibly entertaining. This film was a blast. I had a great time at the movie theater. Now, walking out of the film, I was thinking I was going to give it a 3.5. But guys, I've sat with it. I'm going to give it a 4. I think it
Okay.
deserves that. But we want to know, what do you think of Weapons? Please tell us.
Did you like this movie, huh? Did you? Well, then here is an obvious recommendation. Zach Cregger's 2022's Barbarian. I said it before, and I'll say it again. I actually like it more now after seeing Weapons. It's creepy. It'll keep you guessing. Maybe a little bonkers in the third act, but it will hook you from the get-go and have you pooping your pants by the end. Go give it a watch.
Thank you for listening to Faster Film Critic, and please join us next week when we talk Nobody 2 starring Bob Odenkirk. You can also follow us on Letterboxd, Cinetrack, and Instagram. Email us at fasterfilmcritic@gmail.com. Hit us up with questions, comments, feedback, or review requests, and please share this episode with your movie-loving friends.